that's how you're enjoying your day. I apologize. It is 3:15 Mountain Time as opposed to 3 o'clock because there's a lot going on in my world, and I just flat out forgot it was the day to do my podcast. That's not like me, but I looked at the clock at 2 minutes to 3 and went, OMG, I have got to figure something out here. So here I am. I made it. You'll probably get a half an hour out of me today because I don't have a guest, and I'm just going to give you some random thoughts. The first thing I want to tell you is, for those of you who follow the show and have paid any attention, my beloved Lisa and I have decided after many, many years to move from our beloved Colorado to North Carolina. And I've lived in Colorado for 46 years. Lisa has lived here for 20 of those. We've lived together since 2004. It's a really an interesting time in our lives. It's one of those things that I love the idea that we got from the book that we discussed many, many times, Growing Bolder, where as we get older, it becomes easier and easier and easier to just say no. We're comfortable. We're doing what we're doing. We don't need to do anything different. And no, I'm not doing anything different. But the truth is, if you want to stay alive and vibrant and just growing in your existence, you want to learn to say yes. And this is, without a question or a doubt, this is the single biggest yes of my entire life. Never made a decision that was bigger than this. Moving to Colorado when I was 25 was easy. That was a piece of cake. Moving back east to North Carolina at age 70, that's a whole different ballgame, man. Whole different thing. By the way, I can see there's a couple of people watching here. There's more than a couple, actually. But if you would just comment, say hi. Stick your tongue out on the comments, whatever it is. You can't put emojis up there, but that's a bummer. But just say hi, ask a question. What do you want to hear about today? Whatever works for you, I'm here to do it. So we're moving to North Carolina, and we put our house up for sale. Whenever we put our house up for sale, I don't even remember at this point, but we closed on it yesterday afternoon. So we now have until the 15th of this month to move out. We're planning on moving on the 13th, heading in the direction of North Carolina. Exciting, scary. It's an adventure, that's for sure, and it's an adventure that's just a tad unnerving. But we're gonna, we're doing it. We're moving forward, which is cool. I had a conversation the other night about religious science. Hello, Linda. How are you? I hope you're having a fabulous day. Good morning, she says, from Woodland Park, Colorado. If you just got up, this is quite the morning time. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But anyway, nice to have you with us. I appreciate it. The conversation was about New Thought, about the New Thought religions, Unity, Unitarian Universalists, the Science of Mind churches, the Centers for Spiritual Living, Agape, all the New Thoughts churches. There's lots of them. Lots of them that are little itty bitty churches. There's really only the one, the couple of big ones, Unity and CSL. Those are the big kahunas, if you will. And I've been part of the community and the practitioner core for what's affectionately and not so affectionately referred to as the mothership, which is Mile High Church in Lakewood, Colorado, the largest community in the Centers for Spiritual Living, which is owned kind of by default because the largest church in the organization was Agape, Michael Beckwith's church out in California, but he left the umbrella of CSL, and in doing so, Mile High became the largest church in the movement. So the conversation was around the idea that we have become a little bit exclusive, more to the point, exclusionary. That we've become kind of elitist and that we are the snobs of New Thought. And you know what? I freaking get it. I totally understand that. But I know for a fact that when Ernest Holmes was formulating the philosophy of the science of mind, one of the things that was really clear to him was the idea that there is only one consciousness. There is only one overarching creative intelligence in the universe. I call it God, Spirit. I don't care if you call it Charlie or Fred. Doesn't matter. It doesn't care what you call it, truthfully. What matters is that it is this overarching creative intelligence, this volitional intelligence that creates. And that's That's what it does. It creates and it creates and it creates. And it loves its creation. That's what we hear, that God is love. It loves what it does. It loves its creation. And we are part of its creation. God is in all of it, right? God is in everything. God is in the computer I'm staring into right here and right now. God's in my glasses. God's in that incredible lotus / chakra tie-dye thingamabob hanging on the wall behind me. In my beloved tie-dye shirt. Do you love my shirt? That big old heart on it. I love this shirt. It's my only winter tie-dye. It's a little like winter around here. But anyway, we are the snobs. We have become the snobs. And I totally understand it. And I totally think that we need to just stop and take a look at this. And back to what I was saying there about Ernest Holmes, as he put this whole thing together, he was clear there was only really one of us here. And it doesn't matter what your practices are. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are. There's still only one of us. And to exclude anyone from the picture because of some of their beliefs. Now that's, we live in a world where there's some people out there that have some pretty bizarre, off the wall beliefs. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the beliefs, your religious beliefs, your philosophical beliefs. To exclude anyone because of that is very elitist and very, very, very outside the framework of the science of mind, outside the framework of the philosophy of Ernest Holmes, simply because it was his framework was totally inclusionary. Everybody fit under this umbrella. Everybody was part of this one consciousness, this one mind, this one brotherhood of man, of existence. Again, if you've just tuned in, please comment, say hi, ask a question. If you got something you wanted to hear me talk about, I'm open to talk about anything. Today's just random thought day, and here I am, random thinking. But the idea that we are in the New Thought movement better than anyone else, in the CSL portion of the New Thought movement, that we are better than anyone else, that we have it right and they don't have it right, or they have it even worse, wrong, is really, really a throwback to all the other religions, the great religions of the world, that Ernest Holmes spent a lot of time connecting the golden thread that connected them all to us, to make it something that we were all participating in, or we were all participants. Do you know that there are over 4,000 recognized religions in the world, like over 4,300 actually? And those are there. Let's give you this here. They consist of churches, congregations, faith groups, tribes, cultures, and movements. Even though there are so many, 3/4 of the world's population practices one of the 5 major religions. Now, I don't know if you get that, but the 5 major religions are Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, and Judaism, in no particular order. And Christianity is kind of I guess they all have their own sects within them, but Christianity is interesting because there's a distinction in my mind these days between what's considered to be Christians and what are Catholics. I grew up a Catholic. That was my upbringing. And interestingly enough, I spent my my formative years, if you will. I don't know if they're considered formative years. I spent the ages from 12 to 25 when I left for Colorado. In New York, I spent from 12 to 25. I lived in a town called Massapequa on Long Island. And we lived in a neighborhood where there were exactly 3 Catholic families on our entire block. Everybody else was Jewish. All of my neighborhood friends were Jewish. And I think that was where the idea in my head was got cemented, that only Catholics were going to heaven. There was something wrong with that. That didn't work for me. And that was the exclusionary part of Catholicism. And every one of those Western religions, if you will, all the Christian religions, all have that exclusivity piece to them. The other religions have it in varying degrees, but not so much. It's Christianity that is really focused on that exclusionary thing. We've got it right. You've got it wrong. There are 4,300 plus religions in the world. Are you trying to tell me that everybody else's God is wrong but mine? Everybody else's God is a myth but mine? Everybody else's God is a fiction but mine? Come on. I have a great friend, Minister Lloyd Barrett. Lloyd Barrett says the reason there are so many pathways to God is because God is the only place to go. Bingo, I get that one. How you believe in the divine, your belief in the divine gets you to recognize the divine within and brings you to that place where you feel connected mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically to your source. Who the hell cares how you got there? So I guess part of this thought process for me is those of us who are in the New Thought movement, those of us in particular in CSL or involved in CSL congregations, we need to be more open. We need to be more welcoming. We need to be more inclusive. We need to stand for something. You know the old saying, man, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I think sometimes CSL is a little bit weak on the social justice aspects of things, on taking a stand for what is right. And there are certain things in the world that are just freaking right and things that are wrong. The 10 Commandments, the biblical, the Christian, the Judeo-Christian 10 Commandments are very focused on what's right and what's wrong. But it's all kinds of variations and gray areas in that. Pardon me while I have a little coffee. I never have coffee at 3 in the afternoon. I just felt like making a cup today. Christianity has by far the greatest number of followers. There are 2.4 billion Christians in the world. And 1.6 billion followers of Islam. There are 14.3 million followers of Judaism. Judaism is really one of the oldest monotheistic religions in the world. And then many of the other belief systems all around, lots of other things come from beliefs in Hinduism and Buddhism, both of which had their origins in northern India. Other major religions, just to throw these out here, atheism, of course, is not really a religion. It's a religious point of view, that's for sure. Confucianism, Gnosticism, Jainism, Shinto, and Sikhism. There are several different religions practiced by Native Americans and the African diaspora as well. They have many, many, many different kinds of religions and religious beliefs and religious philosophies. So there's lots and lots and lots and lots of different pathways for people to connect with God, with the Spirit, with the Great Spirit, with that, as I said, overarching creative intelligence of the universe. Lots of different ways to connect. Should never, ever hold a person's pathway of connection to the divine and to their divine self. We should never hold that against them. We should never hold that as a reason to exclude them from anything, ever. Just a random thought for today, and I hope that resonates with somebody out there. The idea, and you know what? As I'm saying all that, I'm cognizant of my own judgments. Am I open and accepting of everyone? And the answer is no. But that's obviously something I need to work on, because the difference between exclusion and inclusion is the difference between right and wrong. Inclusion is what we should all be working at for all of our brothers and sisters in the world. And it's, and from a very, very biblical sense, and I'm not a big biblical person, there's lots and lots of great lessons in the Bible. But it's also, old singer-songwriter Don Crawford, who I saw in 1969 in Poughkeepsie, New York, had a line in a song about naming a child Elijah. And they found the name in an old book of tales, the Bible. But in a biblical sense, we are here not to judge. We are here to include. We are here to embrace one another as our brothers and sisters, and to absolutely practice the biblical idea of hate the sin, embrace the sinner, because we're all sinners. Take that with however many grains of salt you want, but whatever your practices, whatever your belief system, whatever your integrity, whatever your truth, I'm sure for you, just as I'm sure for myself, each and every one of us has stepped outside of that truth, outside of that integrity at some point or another, if not daily, right? So we want to include everyone in our lives. Even if they're people that we don't want to associate with, we have to include them as part of divine creation. Each and every one of us. There's, if you believe in a God of any kind whatsoever, you have to be really clear that your God cannot love you more than it loves me, or he, she, or it, however you believe that. I happen to believe God is that overarching creative intelligence. It hasn't got a gender. It's not the guy in the sky. So we just simply want to embrace the idea that overarching creative intelligence, that God, that spirit, loves us all equally. Even more so than a parent. Every parent says, I love you all the same. Well, I'm the oldest of 9 kids, and I got news for you. If my parents really, truly loved us all the same, it would have been a very, very strange thing. I know they had favorites. I'm not even sure who their favorites were at any given moment, and I think their favorites varied from day to day and time to time. But that's okay. That's who they were. So yeah, little thoughts on inclusivity. We are all children of the divine. Embrace that idea that in fact, I just heard this past weekend. Joshua Reeves at Mile High Church said something about, this is my son in whom I am well pleased. But embracing it from the standpoint of looking at everyone around us. This is my child in whom I am well pleased. That would be the way the divine looks at each and every one of us. Those of us who are living exemplary lives, and those of us not so much. That doesn't matter. We are here to experience ourselves, and in so doing, the divine experiences itself via its creation, you, me, and everybody. So that's what, enough on that. I think sometimes it's important to reflect on how am I living my life? I've told you before, it finally came to me recently in the last 6 months, what my purpose is on this planet. My purpose is to be a beneficial presence. And so to be a beneficial presence, I think is a really immense goal, and certainly an enormous responsibility for each and every one of us, should it be something we aspire to. To be a beneficial presence really means every single day. I ask myself these questions in my prayer work every single day. Who can I benefit and how can I benefit them? Who can I help and how can I help them? And to recognize that I'm sincere in that. And then the final question, of course, is how can I be a beneficial presence? I ask that every day in my prayer work. And if we're here to be a beneficial presence, then our presence needs to benefit all. And that doesn't necessarily mean we have to embrace everybody as our kin. We can literally just simply love them and leave them alone. But we have to love them. We live in a time of great divide and separation. And it's, we see it in this country everywhere. It's all around us. But guess what? Most of Europe is going through the exact same thing. This war of it's culture wars, basically. It's a war of philosophy, but it's also a war of lies and misinformation and disinformation that is just plaguing us all. And we don't. I had this conversation, my beloved Lisa and I had this conversation with a doctor friend of ours yesterday. We get our information from the internet, different sources. Yeah, but it's all from the internet. I get a lot of clips of different news shows. I try to watch all the different variations of the news and the different interpretations. But you know what? Sometimes I just can't do it. Sometimes I look at, let's call a spade here. I look at Fox News and I get nauseated because I totally understand, totally get that Hannity and that other lunatic, Carlson, these guys are just lying to people. They're lying for ratings. They're lying because they want to draw in these people who want to own the libs or whatever their mindset is. And they lie to these people all day, every day. And that's okay. That's what they do. And if you want to watch that crap, you watch that crap. But the flip side of the coin is, as a population, we don't read anymore. We don't look any farther than the tip of our mouse for our information. You get your news from Facebook. You get your news from clips like I do. You get your news from Fox clips like some people do. Wherever you get your information, it's almost incumbent upon each and every one of us to explore that, to look. Is this true? The whole thing. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it right? Does the stuff that's being spewed forth by these talking heads, is it better than the silence? Is it improving on the silence? That's a great concept, isn't it? Don't speak unless you know whatever you're going to say is going to improve on the silence. Yikes. That's an interesting thought concept, isn't it? It's not who we are that holds us back. It's who we think we're not. And if you think you're not somebody important enough to help each other, to do kindnesses for each other, to be compassionate towards one another, to love one another, if you think you're not that person, then that's what's holding you back in the life and in the world. I want to love everybody. And I repeat, loving everybody just simply because they are here as this emanation of the divine. That's why I love them. But I sure as hell don't want to embrace everybody as family, as, people I'm going to hug every Sunday or, whatever. I simply want to be clear that anything and everything that the divine has created, that overarching creative intelligence, is worthy of my love. Anything and everyone. Their activities, maybe not so much. And even, for me, even to the Hannitys and the Carlsons of the world, I have got to embrace those people as God's creation, regardless of how loony they are and how many lies they're telling and how much they're contributing to really the damage that's being done to our democracy, to our way of life in this country. More coffee. So I really only planned on doing a half hour today because I was late to start with, and it's a busy day. I don't have a guest. And it's just some random thoughts off the top of my head. I do want you to know a few things here that are important. And by the way, there's several people watching here who have not commented or made yourself known. Say hi. Just tell me hi and who you are and where you're watching from. This is incredibly important right here. New Thought Media Network is a nonprofit organization, and we greatly appreciate your donations, whatever they look like, whatever they might be. We're just appreciative of that. I am brought to you by hempworks.com, and that is my amazing CBD brand. And let me tell you something, folks, if you don't think, I can't get this right. Which way is that? There you go. If you don't think that selling your house after 46 years of living in this state and moving to 1,700 miles away, if you don't think that's stressful, you don't know what stress is. And this is my magic potion. It helps with my stress. It helps me sleep. I use it for pain with, I have an ongoing in and out thing with sciatica. I use it for that as well. Hi, Gino. Great to see you, man. Yeah, I just love my CBD. I love, and by the way, HempWorks has an entire line of CBD and CBD infused products, skincare, hair care, dog treats, and bacon flavored CBD for your animals to calm them down. You got one of those hyper dogs. You got one of those dogs that goes crazy every time somebody comes to the front door. Try a little bacon flavored CBD oil. Amazing what that'll do for your little dog. It also works for cats. The oil does, and the treats are pretty much designed for dogs. They're little biscuits, like little dog biscuits. So HempWorks brings me to you, and you can find me at that email address right there, teamrockitnow@gmail.com. You can also find my beloved Lisa and I at our branded Facebook page, Vibrant Aging. And anytime, any place, you can find me at any of those venues there. And I am more than happy to answer your questions, have conversations, whatever it is that's on your mind, I'm thrilled to talk about. So that's pretty much it for me today. I just had, just 30 minutes of me just yapping away here with my random thoughts. Hopefully I'll be in the last 2 days of my residency here in Colorado next Thursday. Hopefully I'll remember to do my show. So I'll see you at 3:00 next Thursday, right here on New Thought Media Network with the Vibrant Living Hour. As always, I am incredibly blessed. Hi, Eniko. I'm always thrilled when you drop by, darling. It's great to see you. As always, I am immensely blessed for the great gift of your time and your attention. I wish you all the love and all the blessings the universe has to offer. Until next Thursday, namaste.